everyone. It's Kendra Davis here with the Why We Win interviews. Today we have Alaina, what's your last name? Walden. Alaina Walden. Alaina specializes in life insurance, and she's going to talk to us today about life insurance and give us a little bit of information about herself as well. Here we live in real life and not reality TV, so we're just going to keep it comfortable. We're going to keep it cool. We're going to keep it classy, but we're going to give them all the information that you feel like is necessary in the little bit of time that we have allotted. So Alaina, how are you?
I'm doing great. How about yourself, Kendra?
I'm doing well. Tell us a little bit about who you are.
All right. Well, my name again is Alaina Walden. I grew up in a small country town called Currituck, North Carolina. Have you ever heard of Currituck?
Yes, ma'am. I'm from Franklin. I'm from Franklin, Virginia.
Okay. Yes.
Originally, yes.
Say that no one's heard of that. But it is near like the Outer Banks, Nags Head area. I grew up minutes from, the beach. But grew up, my parents, they have 4 kids. I'm the third of 4. I'm the only girl, so I had 3 brothers. And I grew up and went to school, Currituck County High School. Eventually went on to Elizabeth City State University. That's where I graduated from. My major there was biology pre-med. I actually pledged Delta Sigma Theta 2002. Yep. And so now, just to fast forward a number of years, I met my husband in our industry that we're in now. I know I went to school for biology pre-med, but I actually ended up taking the financial industry lane. And that's where I met my husband, who's also in the same industry. So today, we got 4 kids. And
how many girls?
We have 2 girls, 2 boys.
Oh, you evened out that. You evened the score.
Oh, yeah. We're even. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So, in the financial industry that we're in now, this has pretty much become like a partnership for me and my husband, a family-owned business. We've been in business now for 20 years. My father-in-law has actually been in the same industry for about 35 years. But, we work together every day, and we've been, I say that I've been retired for the past 10 years because when I say retired, I haven't had a boss. I work, for me, we work for ourselves. And, I hold, many licenses, financial licenses. But right now my concentration is in the actual licensing process, getting people licensed for the state.
Okay. And when you say license for the state, what are we referring to as like licensed insurance agents?
So yeah, you get an insurance and annuities license. And I do that for Virginia and North Carolina.
Okay. So both states, bordering states. Is that, so do they accept because sometimes when states border, they'll accept some things from other states, like with pharmacy certifications. If you're a bordering state, sometimes they accept, the other state will accept your certification from the state that borders it. Is that the same with the life insurance?
Yep. So Virginia actually does have reciprocity over other states. And it's like that with the life insurance license. Once you get your resident license in one state, you can pretty much get licensed in every state.
Oh, okay. That's pretty cool. That's some good to know information.
Yeah. And so I've actually been teaching a class to help people obtain that license for like 13 years now.
Okay. So what's the name of your business?
So we are, we call ourselves Walden International Networking, but we work with Primerica.
Okay. And what's the name of the course that you've been teaching? Like, is there a title for the course?
It's life insurance and annuities.
Okay. And so do you have any community involvement? Like, tell us a little bit about you and besides the working you. Like, I know from women, it's hard for us to separate ourselves from being a mom, being a wife, being a daughter, being a businesswoman, a boss. I just had on my shirt earlier that said mom, wife, boss. That's all it said. Mom, wife, boss. Where am I in that? So tell us a little bit.
It's funny you say that because when you ask that, I'm like, what do I do besides work, right? What do I do besides the kids? And I'm still finding myself.
Right.
But at this point in our lives, my 2 girls, they're our youngest. I have a 5-year-old and I have a 9-year-old. They're very active in sports and stuff like that. So I spend a lot of time, coaching them, running them around. I spend a lot of time with our village. Those are the people that are closest to me, like my family. And so it's hard, like you said, to separate personal life from business, because we actually bring in about 100 new people into our organization on a monthly basis.
Wow.
And so I spent a lot of time, working with them and training them to do what we do.
So that's a heavy workload. Do you have, like, besides you, your husband, your father-in-law, and family structure as far as the business goes, do you have an assistant that you use?
I do.
Okay, I was about to say that's a very heavy workload right there, 100 people. And it's good that you found somebody that you can trust, that is responsible, and you can hold them accountable, and they just get it done, even in your absence.
Yes.
That's awesome. That's awesome, because the old saying is true: good help is hard to find.
Absolutely. And, I pray that she don't go anywhere, because it took me about 2 to 3 years to like train her.
Right.
In order to be able to trust her with the business. Because you're right. You do have to find somebody you can trust. So, but yeah, she pretty much helps me with every area. We have a lot of moving parts to our business. And so she's one, instead of our partners calling me, they can now call her. But I'm very thankful for her.
That gives you some Alaina time.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It does. It's hard to have help, and then the help isn't helping.
Right. So you gotta pay people really good so they'll stick. That helps.
It helps. I think it helps. However, sometimes people just lose. Let's say they lose a little gas along the way, and they never ever remember to stop the refill. So, sometimes that's what happens, and it doesn't matter how much you pay them if the work isn't getting done.
Right. I'm keeping my fingers crossed.
Girl, I'm gonna keep you lifted in prayer that one sticks around for real, because like you said, it took you about 2-3 years. That's time is money right there. If you had to spend another 2-3 years training someone else.
And I told her she can't leave until she replaces herself. So she
trains someone else. And that's what I was about to say. Like, I would just bring in an understudy just to have them on safeguard. For real. I would just bring in an understudy.
Right. You got a plan B, right?
Exactly. We're gonna dive right into this life insurance thing. The thing I want to know is 3 things that you think are unknown, neglected to be told, ill-advised, things of that nature about life insurance. The facts, because a lot of times people think, oh, you gotta have life insurance in case you die. Well, I'm sure that makes sense, but they didn't call it death insurance. They called it life insurance for a reason. So let's jump right into your first topic.
Okay. So it's funny you said that it's not called death insurance. Actually, when the industry first created the product, it was called death insurance.
Wow.
And people, when you think about it, if I were to approach you and say, okay, do you want some death insurance? You're going to be like, no, I don't want to think about death. I've heard people say, I don't want to attract death into my life. Mm-hmm. But the industry eventually did change the name from death insurance to life insurance. But when you think about it, okay, why do most people buy life insurance? If people buy it, why do they buy it? Back in the day, mainly it was purchased to pay for like funeral expenses, that type of thing. Mm-hmm. But when we sit down with families, we learn one of 3 things about them. Number 1, they don't have any life insurance at all. Mm-hmm. Okay. Why they don't have it could be a number of reasons. They could be, they may have some pre-existing health conditions. They may not be insurable, meaning that they can't get life insurance because of their health or whatever reason. They may not believe in it. They may not think they can afford it. They may depend on programs like GoFundMe. We see that a lot, right? Number 2, they are underinsured. So leaving someone with a little insurance can be just as devastating as not giving them enough, money left behind. Mm-hmm. And then number 3, they have the wrong type. So we've learned that over 80% of people that have life insurance have the wrong type. Okay. But when you buy life insurance, it's not for you. Okay. It's not for you. When you purchase life insurance on your life, you're actually what we call a selfless person, because you're actually thinking about the ones you leave behind, right? Which is typically your spouse or your kids, your grandkids. It could be your parents, but you're selfless because when you die, you can't take it with you. Mm-hmm. And another question that I like to ask people, I always get the same answer, and I'll ask you, Kendra, how long do you think you need life insurance for?
I'd say at least 10 years.
That's it?
Yeah, at least 10.
That's a rare answer. Most people tell me they need life insurance until they die.
Oh.
Okay, most people think they need it until they die. And so I'm glad you said that, because we feel like that's a miseducation. You know, people have been miseducated when it comes to that. Life insurance is intended for you when you have a lot of responsibilities, okay, and have little money to back it up. So, for example, I'm gonna use my brother. I had a brother that passed away unexpectedly back in 2006. He was only 33 years old.
Mine too.
Okay,
Last year.
he had a heart attack, and when he passed away, he left behind his 10-year-old daughter, his wife who was pregnant at the time, and he was the breadwinner. See, him and my dad had their own trucking business, but he was the breadwinner for the family, and he was the one that picked up my niece. He actually took her to school every day. He picked her up after school. He was like her caretaker, because his business was more flexible than his wife's job. Now, when he passed away, look, his wife, before he died, his wife has said that they were good when it comes to life insurance, because she had life insurance on him through her job. But when he died, the job didn't pay out anything. Mm-hmm. So my parents and his wife, they had to take out loans to bury him. And so, you know, their whole life changed. My sister-in-law and my niece, their life changed. Like, they went from, you know, she went from being in a private school to public school. They eventually lost their house like within a year or two. The land they owned, they lost that. They had to move to a whole nother zip code because they couldn't afford to live there anymore. So I say that you need life insurance mainly when you have a lot of responsibilities. That's typically between the ages of like 25 and 55 or 60, because during that age group, you know, that's when you get married, you buy the house, you have the kids, you have the reoccurring bills and all the debts that go with it. But then as you're going through life, what happens to those responsibilities? They decrease. So had my brother lived, yep, they go down. They're supposed to, the kids are supposed to grow up and, you know, leave the house, not supposed to come back.
What about if I go buy my forever home?
Well, we'll talk about that. We have a plan for that too, okay? Trust me. Yeah, we help people in all areas of finances, not just with life insurance. But had my brother lived, right, he would probably be about, I was talking to my mom today, he'd probably be like 51 years old today. But his responsibilities would be way lower than they were, you know, 20 years ago.
Okay.
So his need for insurance would be lower, right?
Right.
Once you get to retirement age, instead of having insurance, you actually need to have money. Because at retirement, you can't pay your bills, your utility bills, you can't buy your groceries. With life insurance, you got to have money. So what we like to say is that you need life insurance when you have a lot of responsibilities, or, you know, so if you die prematurely, you know, your family's protected, or you need it until you can replace that insurance with money. And we do that with savings and investments.
Okay. My question that I got while you were talking,